Hi, this is Sandra Vacchio. I'm interviewing Theresa Morgan today, a village resident that is going to tell us all about her history here in the village. So, Theresa, tell us, how long have you lived in this beautiful village of Wappingers Falls?
Since 1950,
1950.
in the same location, upstairs.
Oh, the same building.
Yes.
What's the earliest memory that you have when you first came here to this village? What do you remember that was your first memory when you got here?
So long ago, it's hard to remember.
Well, something that stands out.
Well, across the street was an empty lot. I guess before that, it was a hotel.
Oh, okay.
But that was way before my time.
Way before your time.
Yeah, but it was an empty lot with a big hole in the ground where their basement used to be.
Okay.
And kids would get stuck down there. The school bus driver had to get out and help them out so he could take them to school.
That's funny.
I remember that. And I just had my daughter at the time, who was 3 years old. So I remember that she was poking around as we were working. The flower shop was way much smaller than eventually it became.
Well, how old were you when you how old were you when you moved here in 1950? And you just had your first daughter. How old is? How long ago is that?
I think around 24.
You were about 24 years old.
24.
Okay, so you were finished with school. Where did you live before you came here?
Poughkeepsie. I grew up in Poughkeepsie.
You grew up in Poughkeepsie.
Near that Route 9 cemetery.
Okay. Did you ever take the trolley into the village? Did you ever come this way?
No, there was a bus.
It was a bus.
No, the trolleys were
gone.
gone.
A little gone. The trolleys were all
Tracks
gone.
were there, but the trolleys were gone.
Okay.
There was the bus. There's still a bus.
Yeah. So did you ever come into the village before you actually moved here? What brought your family here?
The only time was twice. I came down with a girlfriend on our bicycles.
Wow.
To see her father, who worked at the bleachery at the time.
How exciting is that?
And I really don't remember the year, but the bleachery eventually closed.
Yes.
You know,
Well, I think the bleachery closed in '53, so right
yes.
before that, yeah.
And actually, my late husband took a night job at the bleachery when we first came down here, to boost up the income.
Do you remember what he did when he worked there?
He was a night watchman.
A night watchman, okay.
Basically.
Yeah. Just make sure everything was okay.
Well, as time went on, I do remember one interesting thing about the business. At that time, there was no Valentine's Day business. Valentine's Day was only on the calendar. Mm-hmm. Now it's the major big business of the year.
Yes.
Okay. What was very big then was Easter for sales and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's gone.
Now Easter's
well,
diminished.
Culture changes.
It does, yes.
Over the decades, culture changes.
Tell us about when you got here to the village. You moved into this house.
Yeah.
And were you here just you and your husband alone, or did your parents come with you?
Oh no, my parents were gone.
They were already gone.
Oh yes.
And your parents had lived in Poughkeepsie the whole time?
Well, my parents were immigrants from southern Italy, Calabria, to be exact.
Wow, that makes my
Yeah,
heart, that
I
makes
I
my
guess
heart feel good.
you might say I'm a first generation
Yes.
citizen.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
My parents are also from Calabria.
Really?
Yes.
I'll be
yes,
darned.
Yeah. So it's a wonderful place to come from, but also many people immigrated from Calabria in those
Well, it was
days.
very poor.
Very poor.
Very poor, and
Yes.
there was no opportunity for any
Exactly.
advancement of any kind. So said my father, and of course he was right.
Yes.
Uh,
Do you know what year they immigrated to the U.S.?
Well, it had to be about 1925 because my birthday is in 1926,
Okay.
and I just about made it.
Okay.
Just-
All right. Okay. Wow, that was very early, but many people
Yeah.
immigrated then also.
Well, it was just about the time they were trying to limit
Mhm.
immigration from certain countries, Italy being one of them. Just about that time.
Yes.
So, but it made it.
Everything comes around again, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. But we can't leave because we'd have to take our pizza with us.
Actually, my father emigrated to this country in 1910, around 1910, as a teenager. He came, but sponsored by an uncle. He had to be sponsored by
Yes.
somebody.
Mhm.
He came as a teenager and worked a while, and then he went into the army. It was World War One, and when he was finally discharged and it was over, he went back to Italy and married my mother. And
So he served in the U.S. Army.
yes, he served in the U.S.
Wow.
Army. Yeah, he was a veteran.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what was his profession? What did he do when he lived? Once he moved
Well,
here with your mother?
I think his first job must have been on railroad maintenance,
Okay.
pick and shovel.
Yeah.
The lowest of the low.
Hardworking people.
Yeah.
Right. So you moved here. Or you were already in your 20s. What do you remember doing for fun in those days? What was your fun? Did you go to movies?
We'd go to the movies. Yeah, there was the movie theater. It's still there.
Yes.
But now it's the county players.
So you would go there for movies.
Yeah, we go to the movies.
Is there a special movie you remember seeing there that sticks out in your
No.
mind? Yeah. Okay.
I've probably seen it umpteen times on television.
Exactly. So you moved here and you opened the flower shop at some point.
Well, there was
there was a
a
flower.
flower shop here already.
Okay.
The Jones family had this property,
Okay.
and they had a greenhouse actually on the side.
Oh,
There was a greenhouse here,
Okay.
but that was gone when we moved here, and the flower shop was very, very small and minimal.
Mhm.
Very minimal.
So did you come to work here in the flower shop, or did you come and actually take over and buy
Actually
the house?
take over.
You
No,
took
we
over.
moved down here.
We moved here.
Yeah, because the owner of the business and building and so on passed away,
Okay.
and well, I guess we saw it as an opportunity. It was all for sale.
Mhm. So would you say that did you know a lot about floral arrangement when you started,
Oh.
or did you go to school to learn that trade?
No, my father had us doing chores, us
Mhm.
kids, doing a lot of chores,
Of course.
and
Yes.
oh yeah.
Did he grow? Did he have a garden? Did he? Grow
He
a
had
garden?
eventually acquired this property in Poughkeepsie. He had two greenhouses,
Oh,
two
wow.
big greenhouses and a house. He acquired this
I
property.
see.
He had gardens and he worked the greenhouses. We helped out with chores and so on, not willingly, but
Right. So you'd say that that's where you first learned
that was my first experience.
all your how to grow plants, and
Yeah.
you do have to know some of those basics. But how did you start floral arrangements? How did that come about? Where you started doing floral arrangements?
Well, when he was in business, and in the beginning, they didn't use arrangements, just cut flowers,
Just
or
cut flowers.
whatever
Okay.
they wanted to do with them. And gradually it just seemed like people wanted something already in a vase, this and that.
Right.
And the popularity of arrangements
Started.
built up. And they still do.
Well, that makes sense. Good. So you had some experience in it, and then you grew with the industry, right? You grew with the industry.
Yeah.
Did you ever go and take any arrangement classes?
No.
Nothing like that.
No.
Okay. So you did this
Well,
work.
I did go to conventions,
Okay.
you know, where they had lots of demonstrations.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, you're extremely talented, and we're trying to figure out where all this came from, right?
Oh, it came from my father. He was, and my mother too. She taught me how to sew, crochet, that kind of thing.
Yes.
She taught me that. And let's see, what was I going to say? My father did all his own repairs,
Okay.
and he maintained the greenhouses. And he went so far as building a miniature greenhouse about so big, and he put it out in the front yard in Poughkeepsie, you know, as a something for people to see.
Right.
And he put plants in it and so on.
That's great.
It was really cute. It turned out really cute. I don't have a picture of it or anything.
It'd be interesting to see if somewhere there's a photograph of that, right?
Actually, all signs of those greenhouses and gardens and house and front yard and all that are totally gone
Totally gone.
at this time. Yes. Well, eventually, after my my mother passed away when I was only 14. Okay. And then my father in the early 70s. And my brothers, of course, worked there too. And they had taken over that business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
How many brothers
they
do you
kind
have? How many brothers do you have?
I had two.
Okay.
I had two, but they're both gone. I'm the last person.
You are. Did you have any sisters?
No, I
No.
wish I had.
Oh, yeah. Me
No,
too.
I didn't.
Nice to have a sister. So they maintained the family business for a long time.
Yeah, they did. They did. And then my one brother passed away. Oh, and then the second one, some years later, actually.
Yeah.
He's been gone for about 7 or 8 years. And like I said, I'm the last one.
Well, you're here in beautiful village of Wappingers Falls, and you have
Yeah.
this gorgeous floral business. And at some point, you decide to start drawing, coloring.
No, I always did that.
Oh, you did.
I
Okay.
always did that. Yeah, my father fixed me up with he made himself a desk, an old-fashioned type of, you know, with the lid
Yeah.
lift up.
Okay. Nice.
He made me one like it, only small.
Mhm.
And I was always out there I didn't stay in the house with my mother. I was always tailing him.
Okay.
And I did these little stick figures with maybe 10 fingers on each hand. And I recall customers laughing about them.
Well, I guess you refine those skills quite a bit, because what you do now, certainly I don't see any.
I was always,
Hand with
yeah,
10
I always
fingers.
did drawing anyway. I always did it.
So how
Nobody else in my family at all. Everybody was creative, of course,
Right.
but
So you started drawing at a young age. Do you remember in high school taking art classes?
Oh, yeah.
You did. Okay.
major.
Major.
It was
yeah.
a major.
Right. So
Yes.
you always took art classes, and
Yeah.
you most likely had some talent in school.
Well, so they said.
So they said. I believe so.
The only thing is, I don't have any of that work.
Your early work.
No, because we had this big fire back in 1997 here in this building. We had a big
Oh.
fire and I lost everything.
Oh, how
All
sad.
my art supplies,
Oh.
all my artwork. I only have just very few pieces.
Well,
And everything that you see here has been done since.
then. Okay, so wow. And you've been very busy. We love your depictions of the village. They're so true to life. When you look at it, you really see.
You mean these here?
Oh yes, with the gazebo, and of course, our favorite is Mizzier Homestead, which we
Oh,
cherish.
sure.
Which we, and we do carry your prints in the Mizzier Homestead gift shop because we love them, and I'm sure a lot of other people. I have one of your pieces hanging in my hallway that I bought a while ago. Tell us about what drives your love of doing these paintings.
Well, hoping for sales.
Well, we want to help.
I've always lived. I'm very parsimonious. I grew up during the Big Depression. That makes you a cheapskate for life.
Yes, it does. I know, and I
But it came in handy during this pandemic.
Yes, yes.
That
It's been a difficult time for you, the pandemic.
what, the pandemic?
Sure, with obviously people aren't doing celebrations, they're not doing weddings, they're not doing much, right? They're
Nothing. No, it's really been pared down to the barest that we can still stay alive.
Well, I think we're going to head into a better time.
I hope so.
So,
Oh, you have to know about my cats.
tell us about your
My
cats,
cats.
because we do see
These were
artwork,
all
yes.
my cats. Okay. Now, after my husband passed away, it had to be after he was gone. I mean, I adopted, not all at once, I adopted many stray cats off the street. Hungry, homeless souls. And I adopted them, I doctored them if they needed it, which they did. I took care of them, and but I had the access to the whole building personally, so
Right.
they were all over.
Right.
And certain ones even had a fan club.
Oh.
People, every time they came in, they were looking for a certain one.
I bet you remember all their names.
Yeah, I made up my mind not to forget,
Okay.
so that every time I lost one,
Oh.
I wrote up a journal, cat journals,
Mhm.
because I knew that like decades hence I would never remember them, and I don't. But I wrote and took many photographs of them,
Yes.
and I used them for designs and so on. And
So they're
these
so
these are the
realistic.
ones that sell.
Right. Of course.
A lot.
Yes.
Tony even has
Mm-hmm.
an array of these out there. He sells them more than I do, and
Well-
more people come to the antique place than here.
Anyone that lives in this beautiful village or the town of Wappinger must have one of these pieces in their home. So they must have. They have to, because this is a depiction of where they live, and each one is just so beautiful. So I think that people should be made aware of how gorgeous they are, and maybe at the end we can highlight some of them so people can see how beautiful
Oh,
they are.
that's lovely.
And we would love to be support to you and the business that you've built here and keep you here as long as possible, because we find it very important to help local businesses. So I'll place an
Yes.
order after we finish here today.
Where is all this going to be presented?
It's going to be on our YouTube channel, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. Mhm.
Wow,
So
my
it's-
favorite channel.
You are going to be out there, so we want to make sure people are aware what a
Oh my
wonderful
gosh,
artist
wow.
you are.
Who could ask for anything
And
more?
I'm sure you were going to say that the cat's pictures don't sell as much because, they don't have a personal
Well, I'm a
connection.
pet freak. I mean, I'm crazy for animals.
But they're so realistic. You can see the eyes.
This
how
guy was so
realistic
gorgeous.
They are, and I'm looking at that one up there, and it's just so beautiful. Your artwork is amazing.
And each and every one of them was always taken care of if they needed medical attention. A lot of them did eventually. And I always took them to the animal hospital on Myers Corners Road, Dr. Knifel and Dr. Crew. So if that gets mentioned, maybe they'll appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely.
They have a number of my pastel, like those back there, pastel paintings of cats and dogs.
That's wonderful.
They're, of course, now they're not letting any people in the place because of the pandemic. But
do you ever do consignment work? Like if somebody
Yes.
brings you a picture of
Yes.
a pet, will you
Yeah.
will you do one?
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful to know.
Oh,
'Cause
many.
We have a,
Yeah.
I have a pet, and my daughter has a pet. So that's good to know. People love having something that they can remember.
Yeah.
It's like a family member, right? Your pet becomes a family
Oh
member.
yes.
So
Yes.
that we'd love everyone to know that you're available
Actually,
to do that.
as far as art goes, I've mostly done commissions.
Okay.
Not as many as I'd like, but
Well, you built a beautiful resume of artwork.
at the last two commissions actually are people, which is fine. I like to do portraits,
That's good to know.
especially children.
Good to
They're
let
so cute.
good to let everyone know about that. I'm curious, as a young woman in the 50s, living here in the village when you first came here, what was going on here at the time? Like, do you remember any of the things that were going, the 50s, the 60s? Remember what the frame of mind was back then? Did you get together with friends?
There were more businesses
Okay.
downtown. Generally, you could get along beautifully without all the outlying box stores and
Right.
malls and so on. There were a lot of nice stores.
Any stores particularly that you went into that you
Well,
remember?
yeah, there was Mary Smith's. She sold better type of ladies' clothes, like ship and shore blouses.
Okay.
She was located in the basement of the Grinnell Library. There is a
Oh yes, I've
steps
heard of
going
that.
down.
Yes.
I don't know what's there now. And let's see
The
what else was there.
library
There
uses
was
the whole
a
building.
Robert Lee's
Yeah.
on the corner of Mill Street. Yeah, Mill Street and East Main Street.
I think I've
That
seen
was a big store and it had everything.
I think I've seen a picture or a postcard that I see the name on the side of the
Robert
building.
Lee's.
Robert
Yeah,
Lee's.
yeah, it was very he had a lot of stuff. I bought a lot from him.
What would you say was the makeup of the people that lived here? Would you say that they were mostly Italian or mostly Irish or
I think it
a
was
mix?
half and half. And you could still hear grumblings of the one not liking the other.
Yes.
You could
We
still
heard
hear.
that. We heard-
Yeah,
we
I heard that.
I'm hoping it's over now, but yes. And would you?
Well, life would be too dull if it was over.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. There's always some excitement going on. And did you have many friends in the area? What type of work did your friends do?
Well, I was friendly with the neighbors, but I don't remember. Well, they worked. Most people worked in the bleachery.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
a factory kind of job.
Right. Do you remember the Sweet Ore building? Because I think the
yes.
Sweet Ore was on Mill Street.
Yes, it was on Mill
It was
Street.
still functioning around the 50s, I believe.
Yes, yeah, it was, but they eventually went out of business. But
Yeah.
they,
Well, they had many factories all over. So that was their first store there. That was their very first factory in the village of Welcomers Falls, and that's why it's special, because it was
Yeah.
their first.
oh, I remember it well.
Do you remember any other flower shops in the village at the time or nearby? Did you have competition?
Well, yeah, but I never saw them because I never left. I was always here.
What was working?
But it seemed like they came and went rapidly. There were, over the years, maybe 3 or 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it seems like they didn't last.
A few people tried, they couldn't succeed.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Interesting.
And then naturally, gradually, as time went on, more competition came up with supermarkets, and you know, they have farm products, which is vegetables, fruits, and flowers.
Yes.
And general taste change. One big change, years ago when Easter was the big holiday of the year, a huge amount of the sales were corsages. Everybody went to church and wore corsages,
Yes.
and the men wore boutonnieres, and the children too. So there was a lot of work to that. That was very labor intensive. And that's one aspect of the business, and I'm very glad it is gone.
Is the boutonnieres and the corsages
Yeah,
take a lot of time for a small thing,
for
right?
a small thing,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And another thing I've noticed overall is that people in general now are nicer.
That's such a good thing to hear. Would you say nicer in the last year or the last 10 years?
Gradually,
Oh, okay.
because I remember in the old days, if somebody had a complaint, they didn't call and say, I was disappointed in et cetera, I was expecting X, this and that. They didn't talk that way. They just start screaming. They weren't as nice
Okay.
as customers.
Yeah. A little more gruff. A little more
Very rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody seems to be very nice now.
More polite. More polite.
Well, I would imagine probably, you know, advancements in education in general, and people are nicer.
I think it probably does. That does have something to do with it.
Oh yeah,
That's a good.
I'm sure that's
a
it.
good analysis of the situation.
Yeah.
So you are working here now. Who works with you?
My daughter, actually, she owns the business.
Okay.
Yeah, she owns the business, and I help her out.
What's your daughter's name? What's her name?
But she's
What's her name? Your daughter?
Rosemary.
Rosemary.
We named it for her.
So Rosemary and Rosemary's Flower Shop. So we want everybody to know that's where you gotta go, right?
That's good.
That's right. We need everyone to know out there. That's where, if you want to support local business and you want to support the village of Wappingers Falls, and a lovely Theresa Morgan, an artist here in the village, it does amazing work for us. We want to make sure that you stick around for as long as possible and doing beautiful artwork and sharing it with us and sharing it with the community. And this will continue to sell because so many new people are moving here, right? Have you seen
Yes,
that?
right. That's another thing. All the neighbors that I remember are gone. Either died or moved away or something. They're gone. I never see them anymore. But there are a lot of new people in close by neighborhood, and they're all young.
Yes.
They seem to be, young people.
And that's going to be wonderful for your business as we
Oh,
rebuild
yeah, it's
them.
gonna be
I
good.
think it's going to be wonderful because I think that they're really engaged in working with the community, and I know that they're going to come and buy one of these and put it in their
They're
home.
more observing in that way. They community minded, and they're very nice.
Yes, they like to.
I gotta say, they're all very nice.
Yes, they are. I've met quite a few. Are there any memories that you want to tell us about that stick in your mind before we come to a close?
You mean any one person?
Any person, any specific thing that's happened here that you're very proud of, or you were shocked at, or anything that you remember in history in the past?
Well, I have to say, that fire we had back in 1998 The thing is, since I had like the whole building at the time, even though I had sold the business to my daughter and her husband, but I still was here.
Of course, yeah.
At that fire, actually, I had about 21 cats. 21, yeah. Well, like I told you, I had a lot of room.
So they were.
Yeah, but I lost 12 in that fire, and somehow that hit me worse than almost everything else.
That's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking because
yeah,
they're
because
like
I
a little family.
Yeah, and I was responsible for them, and look what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, accidents happen, and it's not your fault, right? It's something that
it
happened.
just
It's
came from outer
terrible.
space.
Yeah. Do they know what caused the fire?
Yeah, it was an electrical fire.
Well, we're really glad that you're still here. We're really glad that you're part of the community. We love all your art.
Thank
and
you.
Hope we can help you in any way we can to
Well,
put it out there. that
YouTube
it's
sounds
here.
wonderful.
YouTube is wonderful.
I'm thrilled to know that.
Yes, and certainly I think it most likely might be on our Facebook page. There'll be a link. So we're gonna
I
make
do
sure.
have a Facebook page.
Good. Oh, so it's Rosemary's Flower Shop.
Well, that's the flower shop.
Okay.
My daughter handles that.
And you have your own Facebook
My
page.
Facebook,
Okay.
which I show my artwork and
Okay.
maybe anything else that would be of interest.
It's under Theresa Morgan.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to look for that. We're going to make sure that everybody finds out that you have that
Yes, I have
also.
Facebook.
Okay, she's on Facebook, so let's get everybody on Facebook so they can see your beautiful art. Teresa, I just want to thank you so much for your time. We love hearing about the past. We love hearing about people that have supported this village for such a long time. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.